Oh man, my basement has like not quite flooded, but it's definitely getting wet down here.
You all hear me?
Yes. Hello. I did hear you. All right, let's see something here.
Hi.
Hello. Cool. Cool. All right. What- Sean, are you there? I see two of you for somehow. No, I don't. Okay, let's see here. Well, hopefully we get Sean back. I'll wait another minute. Losing everyone. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, I'm gonna wait another minute. We're gonna see if we can get Sean back on. Can you hear me?
Who?
Oh, sorry. I
Okay.
was trying to get Sean's having trouble getting it connected correctly.
I was having a little trouble hearing things too, which is why I dropped out. So
Is it? Are you hearing okay now?
yeah,
Okay. Good.
I can hear.
Awesome. Then we're good to go. All right. Yeah, we're all here. Good. Sorry, I just gotta make sure of some stuff. Put this here. Okay. Well, if everyone is good to go, I guess I'll start. So last we left off. Oh, fun. Lastly, we left off the group having found their way into Iman anyway. Found an unsettled city under siege with protests or maybe riots, it looks like, happening. And after a odd experience with Crom seeing something odd and attacking the rest of the group, you all found your way down to the docks and managed to find a ride, you think, anyway, to Vasselheim, or to Isilra anyway, the continent that Vasselheim is on, with one Vuzgo Filthface, the Knoll captain that you had met in the Underdark, who is now running a smuggling service in and out of the city, as the blockade has blocked most things coming in or out. As the crew, which is 5 or 6 other crewmen of varying races, like I think I said last time, there's a kobold, there's a half elf, there's a couple of humans, there's a halfling. As they run about getting things ready and casting off, you find yourself on this ship, familiar to some of you, now with the addition of a sail in the very middle of the ship. Still with the 4 long oars going out, which help them go faster. And as they pull away, you see 4 of the crew members start rowing on those oars, and as a gentle rain kind of falls, and you see a fog has started to settle over the entire bay here as night has settled in. And yeah, that's where we're gonna pick up. Knowing that there is a hobgoblin blockade out there, could everyone, just in general, roll a stealth check to see how quiet you're able to be? The crew's being pretty quiet, but if y'all could roll and tell me what you got.
14.
Okay.
23.
23. All right. Pretty good.
14.
All right.
And
I got a 17.
that look.
17.
12.
Okay. And 12. Okay. All good things to know. So as you're getting out further into the bay, as the fog is rolling in around you, you fairly quickly lose sight of shore at all. And as it's a couple hours now past sundown, it is fairly inky black with just a little bit of light from a single lantern hanging from the mast of the single mast of this small ship that you're on. But even past that, more than about 35 feet out from it, you can't see anything around the ship. Just a little bit of water and this kind of roiling, slightly grayish darkness. Is there anything anybody would like to do while you're waiting to see if you get past the blockade?
Zepiel will turn to the others and just ask why they brought him here. Why have these ones brought, why are we, it's so cold. This has been
Anyone
a
have an
strange
answer
day for this one.
Because that's we have to get to the place, destination.
You keep saying that. Why?
Well,
to save the universe. Probably.
Probably. All right. As you're rowing further and further out. With those stealth checks, hold on, I gotta roll a quick stealth check for the crew. We're not as stealthy as you guys. Okay, so for a crew that is billing themselves as smugglers, getting things in and out of the city past the blockade in their small, fast little ship, they are not the greatest at actually being quiet. And yeah, like sometimes like the oars are slapping the water fairly, like as you all are trying to, you got to stay quiet. You're trying to stay quiet as the oars sometimes slap the water. You kind of wince because you realize that must have carried. And sometimes in fog, sound can carry further or differently than it does in just normal air. And at one point, Busco, the Knoll captain, he has a coughing fit and is just like just like clearing his lungs out. And he says, "Yes, I apologize for that. That was not good of me. But yes, we'll try to keep quiet. Yes." But before too long, actually, would somebody like to volunteer to roll a D100?
I'll do it.
Go for it.
55.
55.
55. Okay. Before too long, you start hearing just in the distance. How near you're not sure because you can't see, and you're also not sure how far it's carrying over the water. But the occasional kind of guttural yell in what sounds like it could be goblin, as well as the occasional kind of echo of a wave hitting a boat that is not yours. And as you get further and further out, the tension building, you find yourselves wondering what you've gotten yourselves into, looking around at this boat. It's, like I said, you've been on it once before, and you had kind of forgotten, but it's not very big, just big enough really to be able to handle itself in the open water. A single mast, like I said, raising from the bottom, the badly carved dragon's head coming off the front. And with the captain, the crew, it usually holds 6 people. Now with 5 more of you, you're not sure where everybody exactly is going to sleep. There's a small below deck section, as well as it looks like some type of cabin at the back that rises up a little bit to where the rudder sticks out the back. It's a little, you're really starting to worry. What have you gotten yourselves into? Maybe. When suddenly you do hear a very sharp cry from fairly close, and looking over, you can see a little bit of light from maybe a lantern or something through the fog, which means it's fairly close. Is there anything anybody would like to do to try to help hide, or?
So this is a lantern or a light coming through the fog, like out over the water?
Yes, over the water, like from like I said, you can't see much more than about 30, 35 feet off. This is coming from just past that somewhere out to the
Darkness.
I'm having trouble with port side. That's the word. The left side.
Got it.
Does anybody have Pass Without Trace?
No, you would?
No.
Okay. And as you hear that shout and see the light through the mist at a slight angle to you, but heading more or less in the same way out to sea. You see the prow of a ship start to come through. Just about about 30 feet off your port side, a little bit behind you. And as you see that, the crew around you kind of tenses up. The four start rowing just a little bit faster. This is a fairly fast ship, being small. It doesn't have a lot of friction with the water. Between the sail, which you are sailing with the wind right now, and the four long oars, you're at a pretty good clip. It looks like this ship came across you, and as it's turning towards you, it seems to maybe even almost be falling behind a bit. But as you do, see this alter a sudden kind of thunk, and you see that something has been launched off of the other ship, and has stuck into the side of the hull of yours. It looks to be some type of harpoon, a chain coming off the end of it. What would y'all like to do?
So that's the lantern or the light that we see over there. That's where this thing came from.
Yeah, and then as the light got clearer and the prow of a ship kind of appeared through the mist, as soon as they sighted you, they launched a harpoon at you.
Yep.
How far away is it?
It's right now it's about 30-ish feet away. Like, it's fairly near. Yes. So it's within range for most things, I suppose. And like I said, it seems attached by this harpoon and chain.
Somebody
Can I see all of the ship, or only part of it?
untether us, somebody.
I mean,
Pull that shit out.
Can I run up and use my crowbar to try to pry the harpoon out of the ship?
yeah, go ahead and make a quick strength check. See how well you
Can I see the sails?
What's that?
Can I see the
Oh, can you
sails?
see the sails? As you watch and more of the ship comes into view, as it's kind of pulling along behind and a little alongside, you can just see the front sail of the ship. Yes.
I'd like to do create bonfire in the sails.
Okay.
Okay. And I got a unnatural 20 for my strength check.
Okay, a 20 for the strength check. As Roland runs over with his crowbar and starts just prying away at the head of this harpoon that is stuck into the side, it takes a moment. And as you do, as you're trying to do it, you can feel the ship shuddering a little under you from just the drag of this chain that has now gone taut to the other ship. But maybe it's that tension, and maybe you're just stronger than you thought. As you pry back, it kind of shoots off into the waves, and you hear the sound of this falling chain just falling across the water, and some more yelling happening on the boat as your own ship starts once more kind of on its own path, not shuddering any longer, as the oarsmen redouble their efforts to try to go. At the same time, so what exactly does bonfire do? Yeah, 5 foot cube. Okay. So what level are you? Oh, it's a cantrip, huh? So roll 2d8, Sean.
While he's doing that, is that hole from the harpoon above the waterline or below it?
It is above the waterline.
Can I see if I can go below decks and do anything to help patch that? Because I don't feel great about holes in boats.
Yeah, you
So
can go ahead and do that.
That's
All right,
12.
go ahead. 12. All right. As you all watch at the same time, a fire bursts into flame in the very center of the sail. That's once again starting to fade a little bit back into the fog. First, about 5 feet square on it, and then starts kind of curling outwards, and you can see a hole start to form in the middle of it. Before too many seconds go by, you can see that it's spread even more, and the ship follows behind even more. As now all you can see of it is the light from the flames up in the air in the fog. Yes, going below, Zipple, make an investigation check.
6.
6. You've never been on this boat. There's a lot of junk down here in the hold, and it's hard to see. There's no water coming in, and that makes it also hard to figure out where exactly this hole is. No light outside. That also doesn't help. You are not able to find where the hole might have pierced through to the inside of the hull.
Can I just go back upstairs and tell him I took care of it?
Yes. Zipple coming back upstairs lets you know he definitely took care of that.
Insight check.
Well,
Yeah, you can go ahead and roll. What was that?
do you want to?
He's going.
Well,
You're
no.
done.
What am I doing?
Do something. I don't know.
No, I was just gonna say. Well, we took care of that handily.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah. So long, suckers.
How you? Oh, God.
Right around that same time, as you're saying this, you start to hear what sounds like the crashing of a continuous wave on a large shore. And as that sound grows and grows, the crew around you starts to look at each other. And as it grows to such a loud sound that you start to not be able to hear going on the ship, you see Busco turns to you and says the word dreadnought. And as he does, the prow of another ship appears from just off to your right and in front of you. This one 3-4 times as high as your own ship, with the holes of a cannon deck sticking out, 2 in front and then going back along the sides as far as you can see anyway, as it bursts through the what's it called? The fog. Why can't I remember that 3-letter word? Yes, a huge warship comes through. You can see on hanging off of the railing and the front mast coming off, hobgoblins. You see an ogre looking over, must be at least 11 feet tall, with just a rock on his shoulder that's bigger than most of you, with rope wrapped around it, looking like he's getting ready to throw. And they're bearing down directly on your ship. Could everyone roll initiative?
Surface
7.
13.
Rolling got a 7.
ZPO got a 10.
14.
Also 14.
2 14s over here.
All right. John and Rowan was 7. Who else was 7? I missed somebody somehow. Sean, what were you?
13.
13.
that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. That's what I thought. All right. And Tom, what were you?
10.
10. All right. There we go. I don't know where I got that. Okay. I see something I gotta roll for the crew too. Okay. So first thing, immediately upon seeing it come through, the crew and Captain Vusko spring into action. He hauls over on the tiller, turning more to the left and away from where this is coming from. And the crew immediately start, if they had redoubled their efforts before, they're gonna pull something at this point. Just pulling into the water and trying to get away from this. There's one other crew member who picks up a crossbow and fires it at one of the goblins. And managed to hit it. Wow. Does some damage. Okay. And as you see, the goblin catches it in the shoulder and kind of falls behind the rail of this tall ship out of your sight. Chomp and Crom, who's the higher dexterity between the two of you?
14. That would be me.
Okay, then you are up first. As your ship turns, this huge ship trying to bear down on you. What are you gonna do?
Well, I would like to. How far away is it from us?
I mean, it's as you're speaking, and and turning and bearing down on you. Like I said, it's maybe 40 feet off, about around that. It's being such a large ship and displacing so much water, and has lights and things up on it. You've been able to see it further out through the fog than you might have had otherwise.
If I can get within 30 feet of it, like if I run to the other side of the ship, or can I get within 30 feet?
Yeah, you have some room on the ship that you could run. You could make up that 10 feet.
Yeah. So I would like to move. I would like to move within 30 feet of it. Get on the same side of the ship. And my reading of this spell, it doesn't seem like this is prohibitive, but I want to cast Enlarge Reduce on the Dreadnought.
There we go.
And reduce the Dreadnought. I reduce the ship to 1/8 of its normal size.
Okay, what's the
Oh wait.
Right. What?
No, well, it will be its size will be halved in all dimensions, and its weight is 1/8. But yeah.
Okay, let me see about this.
Maybe. It just says that the object can't be worn or carried.
Either a creature or an object that is neither worn nor carried. If the target is willing, it can make a Constitution saving throw.
How is it?
I'm not sure if a boat can be willing or not. Like, it's not unwilling, but also it's not willing. So I'm going to say it does a Constitution saving throw. And then it would be reduced to 1/8.
Well, it's the size is halved in all dimensions, and its weight is reduced to 1/8 of normal. And mechanically, it decreases it by one size category. So from like large to medium or whatever.
Okay. All right. So this would, I mean, this thing is gargantuan, so it would
Go down to huge.
it would go down to huge. Yeah. It is quite large.
It says that the target's weapons shrink also, so that the attacks deal 1d4 less damage,
Okay.
and it's got yeah.
This is going to be interesting.
You're just gonna make it faster.
It might, but also, yeah, we're going to see. So that's okay. The DC on that doesn't happen to be 9, does it?
No, con save of 17.
Okay. So it the ship fails on its con save. And as you watch Chomp concentrating, put his hands out and just like with them wide and then coming in, I guess, like making a smaller and smaller and smaller little ball until his hands come together. You see the ship in front of you kind of shudder and then kind of move in one way and then another, and suddenly this dreadnought, just huge warship, is nearly down to the size of yours now. However, having a crew of about 40, you just hear all this yelling happening because most of them being gunnery crew were below decks. And now there are, let's say, 30 or so people below decks on a ship the size of yours, seemingly cramped in because none of them shrank. Yeah. The few that are left on deck are yelling, looking around, wondering what's going on. There were some that were up in the rigging that fell onto deck, taking some damage. Let me see here. Yep. And yeah, suddenly this huge dreadnought is still heading towards you, still about the same speed. It's hard to tell. The kind of wave of water displacement that had been happening at this point kind of hits the side of your ship, making it rock a little bit, but no longer is this ship displacing that much water. Yeah. Other than that, Crom, it is your turn. Seeing this giant ship suddenly come down to your size.
How far are we away now?
It's still it hasn't had its turn, so it's still technically about 40 feet. Your ship made a 90-degree turn and heading away from it at a fairly good clip.
Aim for somebody.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna see if I can throw a hand axe at somebody on the top deck.
Okay.
I don't have a javelin.
Yeah, you can do that. The closest one is probably going to be the first one on the deck is that good sized ogre I was talking about with his stone up on his shoulder as if he's getting ready to throw.
It's over 20 feet.
Oh, okay. George just said he thinks it'll be at disadvantage because it's over 20 feet away. So
yes, if it's outside of your first range there, it would be at disadvantage.
Okie dokie. I'm still gonna try because I got nothing.
All right. Go for it.
2. Okay, great. Lovely.
Whole game right there.
A 9. Does a 9 hit?
Okay. A 9 does not hit. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's fine.
As you throw the hand axe across, he just happens to turn and it kind of hits the boulder on his shoulder and ricochets off into the water.
I'll try my extra attack.
Okay.
You have a gun?
No, I don't have a gun. I don't know. I think we got
We
rid
used
of
to.
our
I think we sold them. I
guns.
don't know.
Or muskets or whatever. Okay.
There
anyway,
were some muskets at some point. Yeah.
I'm gonna try again.
Okay.
9, 7, 16.
16. 16 does hit.
Oh, cool.
Roll for damage.
6 damage. Great. That's great. And I guess I only have. Go ahead.
No,
I guess I don't have my hand axes anymore.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Yeah. And as he watches the first one head off and kind of laughing at it ricocheting off his boulder, the second one catches him in the left bicep and it just sticks there and he looks down at it and looks back at you. Sirthis, what you gonna do?
I'm assuming this thing has like cannons and whatnot.
It seems to. You can see cannon ports and there seems to be something sticking out of many of them. It's hard to see in this darkness and fog.
Okay. Well, it's a long shot, but seeing as the ship's reduced and all that stuff, and things might be a little bit confined inside, I'm going to use my old bonfire thing again and try to set it kind of like on the window sill or near where the cannon is in hopes of maybe igniting something.
Okay.
Explosive.
Because you don't have to make a roll for that. It just starts, right?
Yeah.
That's right. And it has to make a dex save, I think, right? We didn't do that the last time.
No, I believe it
It's
does, though, yeah.
It's okay. This thing's a giant ship. It doesn't have good dex, and it rolled a 3. Okay. Okay. Roll for your fire damage, 2d8.
Working on it, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Uh, 10.
10. Okay. As y'all watch the first, there's one on either side of cannon port in the front of this ship. And the closest one to you, which is on their port side, suddenly starts on fire. And as the wood around it catches fire, you can see it just burning all around this now fairly small cannon port, but still, it starts on fire. A good amount of the ship, percentage-wise, actually starts to catch on fire, it being now so much smaller than it had been. Yeah. Okay. And where is my order? There it is. All right. Zepiel.
Is the ogre hanging on the rigging still?
No, the ogre, there was some goblins in the rigging. The ogre is kind of, he's right in the front of the ship, kind of up against the railing.
I am going to cast Sacred Flame at him, so he needs to make a Dexterity saving throw.
Okay. That is a 5.
That is a hit then. So he's going to take 2d8.
Ellie. Yes.
So that's 12 points of damage.
Okay. So the your new lizard friend, as he walks forward, holding up his. You have a holy symbol, right?
Yeah, it's the sun.
Yeah, the sun. He holding it up. He kind of closes his eyes for a moment, and as he does, this kind of ethereal flame sweeps across the ogre, doing how much damage again?
12.
12 damage. Yes. Make him stumble back a little bit too. All right. At this point, it is the ship's turn. As it continues its way forward, getting in very close. Its 2 cannons. Let me see something. Yeah, that's what I need. Okay. Its 2 cannons fire at you. Okay. Could Chomp, since you had ran up to the edge, could you make a dexterity saving throw?
Oh, fuck.
That's 1. Natural 1.
Gosh. All right.
No. You need to make it. Look.
So, let's see here. How many d10s do I need to roll? Let me see here. There it is. Okay. As the cannons explode out of the front of this thing, as you running across and the turning of your ship has put you dead on center, one of the cannonballs flies right past the mast of the ship and out into the darkness. The other one hits your ship right in front of you. You take 21 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are knocked prone.
Oh no!
Yes, at the same time, oh gosh, you hear from inside the ship, as it fires, something moves inside, and with the flames around it, you hear an explosion from inside the ship. And more fire starts to kind of lick up out of the second cannon port in the front.
I mean, we were smart. We could just overtake them and steal it. But no.
All right. I mean, that's the ship's turn. The ogre on the ship at the same time also throws his rock out at the ship, which is, I mean, it's 40 feet. Well, it's a little bit less than 40 feet now, but let me see something. Yeah, he does not hit. As he throws the rock out, the rope trailing behind it, it kind of plunks into the water, sending a huge spray all over all of you. So you get wet, but the rock doesn't hit the ship. And as you see, he kind of jerks, holding onto the rope, and starts pulling it back in. Roland, you are up. You just saw the cannons fire and Chomp get knocked over.
Can I have some gunpowder left over. can I tie a bag of it to my flaming arrow and then shoot that, or is that too many actions?
I'd say to tie your gunpowder to an arrow, it would take an action.
Okay.
So you would have to fire it next turn.
I'll just go on and use my longbow right now and aim for the ogre. And does a 12 hit?
It does not. As you watch it kind of sails over his shoulder as he's pulling his rock back in.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Okay. In that case, it is now your ship's turn. As it continues its turn, and
Ooh. Do you have a ship?
oh, yeah. The crew gets ahead. It starts pulling away, and you're definitely thinking you're going to leave it behind. It's just you're still probably within range of the guns. But Chomp and Crom, Chomp first. What are you going to do? You're muted if you're trying to say something.
Sorry, I don't know who you're talking to. Our power went out, so we lost our
Oh gosh.
Wi-Fi for a second. So, but it's on.
Okay.
What happened?
I think we lost them. In any case, when you get situated again, it is y'all's turn. Surthus, you'll be up next. All right. let me
Okay,
see.
Gotcha.
Can you hear us? We're good.
Yes, I got you.
Okay.
So it is Chomp's turn.
Okay. Well, I think from taking damage, I have to do some sort of concentration maintaining check
Yes.
for the enlarge reduce. So what's that? Concentration saving throw.
It's a con saving throw. You either need to meet what is it? It's either 10 or half the damage you took, which is the same thing this time. So
All
go
right.
for it.
Eight, 9. Yeah. So I failed it. I lost concentration.
Okay, as we'll call it kind of retroactively, but this is all happening very quickly anyway. But
Yeah.
as Chomp got knocked over, the ship once again back to its full size, and another wave of water starts out from it, having displaced all, and as it rocks a little bit as all this weight comes back in. Everybody on board, of course, is stumbling around. But it is still your turn. It will take half movement to get up.
Yeah. I guess I'll stand up first.
Okay.
And see, some of the ship is on fire, correct?
Some of their ship, a good amount, is on fire. The fire scaled up with when I'm gonna say when it re-enlarged, it scaled up with it. So it's a good amount of the front of the ship seems to be on fire, with some of the crew now having to take their time to try to put it out.
Let's see. I guess so. There's some fire near
Ogre.
the cannons, or the ogre. I want to pick some fire
There is,
near a combatant. So if there's a fire near the ogre or one of the cannons,
Yeah, there's fire near the ogre. It's kind of licking up the side of the ship from the cannon ports towards the ogre.
I'm gonna cast pyrotechnics on that bit.
Okay.
So it's a non-magical flame that fits within a 5-foot cube, and it can be an area of flame, so it could be part of a larger fire or whatever. And
Okay.
I'll do fireworks. So it's gonna explode, and each creature within 10 feet has to make a Constitution saving throw or be blinded until the end of my next turn.
All right. So you can definitely get the ogre. And it's a Constitution saving throw.
Con save of 17.
And he rolled a 7. Okay. Yeah. So as you cast it, the whether it was just by coincidence and it just happened to hit some gunpowder or something on deck, it suddenly blows up this flash of light around, and he's now blinded. Right? Yeah.
Blinded till the end of my next turn.
Yeah, until the end of your next turn. Yeah. Okay. As all these colors flash all over the place, some of them going into the rigging, starting more little spot fires and things like that. Crom, what do you want to do?
Can I see any weapons laying around, like a ranged weapon, like a crossbow or anything?
Yeah, make a quick investigation check.
9.
9. I mean, looking around, you don't see any weapons. You do see a couple of belaying clubs, the little clubs that go into the hull that you can tie knots around to lash things down. There's a couple of those around. They're good size and fairly heavy, and made of wood. So it would be an improvised weapon.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I can do this right now or if that counted as an action or what, but so we have cannons also, correct? Is somebody manning those cannons?
Actually, the ship you are on does not have cannons.
Oh.
There's one crewman that's forward now on the ship that has a crossbow, and made for fighting.
I'm sorry, you broke up for a second. What did you say about the dude?
I said if you forward on the ship, there's a crew member with a heavy crossbow, but other than that, this is not a ship made for fighting.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. Bruh. How far is that guy away?
He's about 30, 40 feet right now. It's varying depending on the moment with the waves and the sea.
Okay. I want to run over to him. I want to use my movement to run over to him. And can I use a free action to ask him give me your fucking crossbow now.
just because I want to say this, yes, let's.
Okay.
We can do that.
Intimidation.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm gonna say running up to him. He's just like, all right.
Nice.
Now you got a ways to shoot. It's gonna be a good. Ooh, gosh, from where he is, maybe 50 feet to hit the ogre,
Okay.
or for that matter, anybody else on deck. Are you proficient with a crossbow?
I have no idea. Let me
see.
see. Yeah, hold on. You said it's a heavy crossbow?
Yes. I mean, it is a martial weapon. And you are proficient with martial weapons.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay. So make an attack roll and add your proficiency bonus.
Okay. Shit. Damn it. Of course, when I have to fight people that aren't in my party, I can't hit a damn thing. A 7.
7 does not hit. No, as you kind of take it out of his hands and you come around, it like triggers just before you were on aim and flies wide.
Okay, maybe next time then.
Next time you can get wife. Yeah. Sirthus, you're up.
Okay. I would like to center, not center, but want to try to take as much usable surface area on the ship as possible. But I want to make sure that the helm is engulfed in Hunger of Hadar.
Oh, what's the range on that?
150 feet. 20-foot
yeah, you got the range
sphere.
for it. Okay. Oh, and there's no roll for that, right? It just happens.
It does, but that one, it's darkness, but it also has tentacles inside beating the shit out of them. So
That's right. Okay.
But it takes
Arms of Hadar. Yeah.
Hunger of Hadar.
Hunger.
But
okay.
Yeah, it's just like it's like regular darkness spell, only has like crap inside, but it does any creature that starts its turn in the area effect takes 2d6 frost damage. And any creature that ends its turn in the area is 2d6 damage. What kind of damage is it?
I think it's acid.
Yes, acid.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So as you concentrate, holding out one hand, this kind of dark energy flowing around your fingers, and you extend it, and you can just barely make out the helm of this thing through the fog. It looks like there's two figures standing there, one quite a little bit taller than the other, one and the smaller one yelling orders. But as you cast it, this bubble of darkness suddenly kind of expands around them. These small tendrils of something coming out around it, and you hear more yelling starting up there. Could you roll? Let's see. Well, they got to make dexterity saving throws, huh? Well, no, that's at the end of their turn. Okay.
Well, it's anybody that starts their turn takes 2d6. Anybody who ends their turn takes 2d6.
2d6. Okay, so we'll get to that on their turn, I guess. Okay. Zipil.
Did you say both the cannons had fired?
both the front cannons had fired.
I can see 2 unfired cannons then.
From the look of it, you can't see because of the turn that your ship took, you can't now see the other cannon that had fired, but you can see the one closest to you is on fire and fired at you already.
Okay. I'm going to look at the fire on the deck and then down at my claws, and I'm going to create a flaming sphere right outside of the gun port, and then use a bonus action to I can move it 30 feet, so I'm just going to run it past that unfired cannon and just basically kind of just whip it back and forth within 30 feet, hoping to touch off one of the powder kegs or any buddy below deck.
Okay. Wait, which spell is this?
Flaming sphere. A 5-foot
Ah.
diameter sphere of fire on an occupied space of your choice. And then if there's anybody in the sphere at the end of the turn, they make a dex saving throw. But as a bonus action, I can move it up to 30 feet. So
Yeah, I mean, you can see the outside of the gun port, so.
yeah. I'm assuming there's crew back there, so I'm just kind of trying to hit them. And again, any possible powder would be awesome.
Okay, then I'm going to roll some saves. Could you roll for damage?
The 2d6?
Yes.
Yeah, you okay.
Yeah.
So it's just 6 then.
Oh no. Okay. So 6. All right. So this flame around the flames coming out of the ship, and a more concentrated ball of flame, or at least sphere, like part of a sphere of flame, suddenly extends from the ship, and then moves inward. I mean, you're not sure who took damage, but you can hear some definite panic yells. And let me see something. Oh my, that was such a low percentage roll. Okay. And just a few seconds later, you all hear an immense bang as part of the front part of the ship, it looks like one level down from the deck, just explodes and splinters outwards, just around that cannon hole. A gaping hole now being in the front side of the ship. Not quite down to the waterline, as this is a large ship. And now it's the ship's turn. So continue on its course. It starts to turn slightly away from you. Presenting its broadside, whereupon you see a good another 16 cannon ports. This is a large gunship, and it opens fire on you. I need more D20s. Okay, there we go.
I just want to add something.
Yes.
I mean, one of the reasons why I put that on the helm is so that they have to be in utter darkness and combat tentacles in order to actually move the ship. So I'm trying to keep them from being able to maneuver. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Okay, I mean, we can, but that's going to mean that they weren't able to turn. Because the ship moves no matter what. It's under sail power.
Oh yeah, I just don't want it to be able to maneuver and like maybe get a second or third broadside on us.
Okay, that'll help me remember. So actually, because they weren't able to turn, they're only able to do a partial broadside on you, firing at will. could Roland, Zippel, and Crom make dexterity saving throws, please?
$18.
17.
Da, da, da. 20. Modded.
Okay. So as you see several of the cannons start firing, these blooms of smoke and flame suddenly appearing on the side, you're all able to kind of duck out of the way, being near the back of the ship as the cannonballs, several of them actually hit. None of you take any damage. Yeah, but the ship definitely does. Oh, there's the hit points. Yeah, at least one of these hits fairly low. And you see splinters as well as water splash up from around the waterline. Yeah. That's their turn. Roland, you are up.
Okay, can I see who's sailing this ship? Or is he in
At the
darkness?
At the moment, looking up at the pilot's area on the ship, yeah, you just see this sphere of darkness with occasionally kind of a tentacle coming out of it, and yeah.
Okay,
So
then
you can't see them.
Is there a hobgoblin who has not been attacked yet?
I mean, there's lots of them. You see
right.
a good at least 4 hobgoblins that you can shoot at.
I'm going to choose one of the hobgoblins, and this will be assassinate. So I have advantage on the attack roll.
Go for it.
Which is probably okay. Let's see. Oh heck, I forgot my. Oh, and I'm using my longbow. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. Yeah. Does a 17 hit?
I can't remember. Let me look at them real quick. Yes.
Okay, so that's 1d8. So that would be 10 damage.
Okay. Letting loose another.
Oh, hold on. I'm
Hobgoblin.
sorry.
What's that?
Any hit I score against that creature that is surprised is a critical hit.
Yeah, so you should double your dice. So roll another and add it.
All right, so that's be 13.
13. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it hits him just like right around the collarbone, and he's holding on to it. Hasn't gone down, but doesn't look very happy. At this point, the crew around you rowing, breaking their backs rowing, and one of them jumping into the up into the little bit of rigging to kind of get the most out of the sails, gets a good amount away. And as they do, you kind of disappear, and also the ship behind you disappears into the fog. You can still hear the panicked cries of sailors, and you can hear a little bit of the flame. After a few seconds, you hear some more of the cannons fire off. Let me see something at disadvantage. Okay. Yeah, and you hear some splashes, in the water nearby you, but nothing hits. And as things start to quiet down after a minute, you hear less and less and less. The crew around you still, for a few minutes afterwards, just hauling on the oars as fast and as strong as they can. This ship can cruise pretty well, pretty fast. One of the fastest ones you've been on. Those of you who have been on Fortnite. And yeah, you eventually, it kind of calms back down. You get back into the mostly silent, the water lapping against the side of the ship as they slow down a little bit to catch their breaths, the sail still pushing you onward at a pretty good clip. The rain, which has slowly been falling, starts to increase a bit, and you are left with yourselves, it seems, having made it past the blockade, if just barely. Although several of the crew going below come back up and let the captain and you know that you seem to be taking on water. At least one of the cannonballs seems to have pierced you low enough in the hull to create a leak.
I'll volunteer to help if I can patch any holes.
Okay. Looking at the crewman, it happens to be the small kobold crewman who had gone below and was checking things out. He kind of looks at you and looks at the captain. The captain just gives a nod, and the little kobold kind of shrugs, makes kind of a yipping noise, and gestures for you to follow them below.
I go down with my tinkering skills. I think I could probably be handy.
Okay. So the both of you following, Zippo first, and then Chomp after them. Coming below, you see in the very rear part of the ship, down near the bilge, a good crack in some of the hull planks there is letting in a steady flow of water. Not too much yet, like you're not sinking, but should it go on, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop on its own, it may be a problem eventually. How would you like to fix it?
Does the kobold know of any spare wood or sail that we could bunch up? Because we could put the spare sail over and then patch that with tar and kind of like until we can get somewhere we can seal it correctly.
Okay. Kind of looking around for a moment, they, just kind of digging through some of the crates, and it's like I said, it's a mess down here. There's different crates of things. Some of them organized, others just kind of tumbled over halfway on their sides. He comes up with a good sized portion of, it looks like an old torn sail. Yeah. As well as you could probably find tar or something. I mean, this is a ship. They just for maintenance purposes, they have tar to treat the wood and things like that to more waterproof it. Roll a oh gosh, what check would this be?
Can I use mending to repair it at least over time?
I don't know. Mending's a tricky one.
Yeah, I figured you can't do it all at once, but
I mean, it would take a lot to fix something like this with a cantrip. Let me see. So you can repair a single break or a tear in an object you touch.
yeah, Yeah, it's like 1 foot in any dimension.
As long as the breaker tear. So this is a little bit. This is bigger than that. I'm gonna say like you could try, and it might fix part of it. But the more you try to fix something like this magically, the more it'll resist it, having already been fixed magically, partially.
Okay.
But you can fix it partially and kind of, it would slow the flow of water if you did. Do you want to do that?
If I feel it'll help, yeah. Of course, we should all have water breathing, minus the crew. Fuck those guys.
I only caught the last part of that. What was that?
I said we should have water breathing, but fuck the crew.
Okay. Zippo, are you gonna try to patch this up?
I am. And while the kobold is looking for the stuff, I'm going to turn to the. You said it's Roland or who's with me?
Chomp's down there with you, and I guess Sirthis is too.
I'm going to ask them in a whisper if they think anybody would be mad if I ate the kobold.
Oh.
Oh,
I thought you were going to ask for help.
Oh, well, this one expects help at this point. This one did not think there was a need to ask. Since we are all sinking, this one can swim. But yes, would you help me as well?
yeah, I'm gonna. I will definitely assist with the repairs. And as far as the kobold is concerned,
He returns later.
Okay. Let me see something. Okay. So what is this going to be? Could the two of you just make a dexterity check? Each make your own.
It's a 9.
Okay. Chomp?
dexterity, just a straight dexterity.
Yes, unless you have a good argument for why not.
It's to repair the thing.
Yeah, to try to repair and plug the hole.
I mean,
you've never been on a ship or had to repair a ship anyway. You've been on a ship before, but you've never had to repair a ship. So.
Yeah, and I think my tinkering skills, I feel like, are probably more like mechanical, like small clockwork devices and that sort of thing.
I agree.
Yes.
So probably not directly applicable to fixing, structural parts of ships.
Do a dex.
So go ahead and roll a dexterity check. This is going to be a group check, so people haven't rolled a 9.
I got a 20 total.
Okay. Let me see something. Okay. So between the two of you, you're able to get this thing fairly well plugged with this old ripped canvas and some tar. Zippo, at one point, you get your hand kind of stuck to the side of the hull with tar, and you have to kind of use your other claw to pry it off, leaving a few scales behind. But you do manage to stop the ship from sinking. It's still leaking a little bit, just kind of dripping, like drip, drip, drip. But you're not all gonna die before the trip is over. You think? But yeah. So you've managed to stop yourself from sinking. What would you all like to do? Going above deck real quick, as kind of the crew gathers and you gather with them around the captain, he says, well, that was an interesting one. I'm glad we all made it through that. So it's now going to be another 3 days across the sea to get you to where you can get to Vasselheim. Like I said, I cannot bring you to the city itself. I can drop you off on the shore. You will have to make the last 30 miles or so on your own. But try to make yourselves comfortable. And then he starts giving some orders to the crew to kind of batten things down for the night and telling who's going to be on night watch, things like that. So you are left with pretty much the run of the ship. There's not a whole lot to it. There's a below decks area that's mainly one big room. Really, it's not like this thing has many rooms. There's one room raised slightly above deck level at the back of the ship that seems to be the captain's quarters. Not very big, and it only takes up part of the back part of the ship. It's more of a small bunk, really, with walls around it. This is kind of a no frills cruise you're on.
Is there a kitchen?
There is a small area on deck with a metal brazier with that they keep sometimes coals inside and things like that, with a grill over the top. But there's no real galley, a galley is a type of ship. There's no real kitchen on this ship now.
Zepiel is just going to go over to that brazier, and is there like a pot or anything?
Not right now cooking on it, but there's some pots nearby that are kind of tie up to the side rail of the ship.
I'm just going to pour water skin into the pot and heat it up, and then pour it back into my water skin and make a hot water bottle because Zepiel is very cold.
Rightfully so. It is, and the rest of you are feeling it, except for Crom. Crom, you just feel kind of wet as it's been raining for a while. It's very cold rain coming down, not quite freezing, but just beyond that. The rest of you, though, anytime you spend outside you're cold, you're shivering, you're soaked to the bone. Your skin, as you feel it, almost feels like it's absorbed too much water. It's gross out, is what I'm trying to say. But like I said, you do have the run of the ship. What would you like to do?
I'm going below deck.
Okay. Does everybody else want to go below decks, or we staying up here in the rain?
Zepiel will as soon as he has his hot water bottle.
Okay.
He's wearing both of the oversized coats that he got from the last town, one on top of each other.
Okay. That's right. You had gotten a bunch of coats from Iman. Okay, like I said, this journey across the sea is going to take at least 3 days. So anything that anybody would like to do in the meantime, any planning, any questions for crew, captain, or the rest of the group? Anything you want to do in the meantime, please let me know now.
Zepil is going to ask the rest of the group what our plan is when we get to wherever we're going, because they keep saying we have to save the universe, but it's a little thin on details for him.
I guess we can we got nothing else to do. We got this long boat ride, so we go through and explain the whole chained oblivion and recipe for shackles of oblivion or whatever they were called, and we were gathering the items and
Yep. All right. So they present to you a story, Zipil, of that it is believed that a betrayer god called the Chained Oblivion, also known as Tharizdun, is trying. It's believed that they're trying to break back into the material plane after being locked away for quite a long time. And as a precaution, this group has been sent to find the ingredient pieces to a theoretical medical item called the Betrayer's Shackles that would lock a betrayer god back away should they break out. And so they're on their way to get one of those ingredient pieces, as well as to possibly free their Goliath barbarian friend from, well, a terrible item that seems to be haunting them.
And it has to be where it is cold.
To be fair, you were looking to go to there.
It's before I knew of the weather. Do we have any expectations on what we're going to find in this city when we get there?
I don't
Fun and killing.
yeah, Krom is hoping for some heads to smash.
I didn't get to hit anything really. I'm sad.
It's true.
Hit the kobold. I will not tell.
I gotta say, this you're a refreshing change from the last cleric we had in our group. He was nice enough. Nothing against him. Just your outlook on things is more pragmatic.
I have heard the kobolds are delicious.
Well,
Your point stands.
So
All right.
the dog face says he cannot take us, so we have to go through the woods? Where is he taking us?
yeah. So he's taking us to the port, and then from there we go. I don't know. Is it?
We can't dock? Is that what it was?
Well, you're not exactly sure. You were told that you can't be brought to the city by boat, that you will have to walk the last little bit. You're not exactly sure what that means or why it is.
Yeah. We didn't ask.
Oh, good. I was worried we were too prepared. Maybe we ask Dogface.
Oh,
Yeah.
like ask for some more detailed explanation of.
Sure. Yeah.
As much as we're paying him, I think we could get an answer.
Word.
Yeah, let's. At some point, we should find him and ask him for some more info.
I was gonna take a nap.
At some point on this journey after all this is done, but I think we should discuss renegotiating because they have been pretty much useless and they owe us their lives.
Maybe after we get on the land.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Even this one has heard of pirates and the murdering in the night.
True. All right. So did you all want to try to seek out Busco to try to get an explanation of what's happening with Vasselheim?
Yeah.
Okay. It's easy enough. It's not a very big ship. He has also come below and is kind of hanging out with a couple of the other crew. And as you come up and ask him, he says, "All right, what do you want to know?"
What's the situation between the place that we're docking, the port, and Vasselheim? This short little walk we have to make. Is it over a tundra or a glacier or a mountain, or what can we expect?
Well, I mean, there's wilderness there, but it's not tundra, as it were. It's going to be cold. I can tell you that. There's probably snow on the ground. But there isn't really not a port so much as there's a long jetty that you can dock at, and then there is a road to Vasselheim, and it has to be walked. It is
But
part
there
of
is
the
a road.
pilgrimage process.
Yeah.
What's that?
But there is a road.
There is a road. It is, how do you say? It is rough, but people do it. Like I said, it's part of the pilgrimage process. Many pilgrims of many faiths make their way eventually to Vasselheim, as it is the center of, well, some say Exandria.
So just like wild animals.
Oh yeah, I mean, there anything you would find in the woods, plus the cold. Personally, I've never really
Yeti.
spent much time in Vasselheim. I'm not a very religious man myself, but you know. Have any of you ever been there? I'm guessing not from the questions. I'd assumed you had.
Oh yeah, no, never been there.
I'd assumed when you asked me for passage that one of you was at least familiar. I mean, you do know what you're getting yourself into. This isn't.
Absolutely not.
This is not your run-of-the-mill city you're going to. This is the Dawn City. This is the oldest city on Earth.
The Dawn City?
The Dawn City.
I like that.
It is. It was during the calamity. It was the last city standing. Before that, even before the Age of Arcanum, it was the first city ever founded. It is.
If it is the city of the dawn, I understand why I was told to go with these peoples.
And there you go. But just don't cross any of the priests or what have you there, and you should be fine.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. We're pretty non-Christian.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else anybody else wants to do on this your 3-day journey across?
I don't have any.
I don't think so.
Okay. In that case, let me roll a couple things just to see. Okay. So no sea serpents or anything like that. The rest of your journey across is fairly uneventful. It's cold. It's windy. Luckily, on your way out, you're mostly sailing with the wind, slightly diagonally to the wind. It's also being the middle of the winter in the North Osmet Sea. It's fairly strong wind. You don't spend a lot of time on deck. Most of your time is spent below decks in the kind of cramped hold. You find where you can to sleep. There's some sacks of grain and things like that you're able to kind of stack into kind of a bed. It's comfortable enough. The crew that you're traveling with is fairly smelly, especially the kobold, who smells like wet dog, among other things. And in a confined space for many hours a day, that's not the greatest. So you do spend some time up on deck just to get some fresh air occasionally. It rains most of the time, occasionally turning to either ice or snow, making sometimes being up on deck difficult. On the 3rd day, while the wind keeps up, the storminess subsides a bit, and the sun even comes out. And near the end of the day, you hear a shout, and it seems land has been spotted. The first thing you see of the land coming near it is that there's several isles kind of in a chain. Not large islands, but okay sized ones. And you navigate between them, heading on for several more miles inland. You finally see this long strip of thin, desolate looking rocky beach, beyond which pine forest and snow. In the very distance, you see some small hills and one large mountain rising up in the haze. It's hard to tell how far away. There's not enough to really give you the scale. And as the ship starts to come into a small inlet or bay, you see this rock jetty that's been built out into the bay. And you come alongside, slowing and bringing the sails down, and eventually throwing out a rope and tying off. There's a few dwarves there on the jetty, and you see just a couple small huts on the beach, or just up from the beach. Some wood smoke kind of trailing out. The sun is just going down. You seem to be arrived on the continent of Isora, a fairly, stark and cold place, it seems, especially this time of year. What would you like to do?
Are we going to see about the rebate?
Oh God.
Oh,
Shit.
I'm not
I'm not a haggler.
yeah, I don't know how I feel about trying to renegotiate our agreement.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I kind of
Okay.
agree with Crumb and Chomp on that.
I'd rather
Okay.
get on with the journey.
All
I
right.
don't-
So, as you're getting ready to get off the boat, Busco comes over and says, "Well, we got to here. That's we kept our end of the bargain. What could we have the other half of the money?"
Yes.
All right. Do you remember how much half the other half the money is?
250 platinum.
That's what I thought. All right. So handing over the other 250 platinum, a good amount of platinum, like it's a couple bags that you bring out of the bag of holding. His eyes light up momentarily, and he kind of holds it in his arms, kind of cradling it. And yeah, seeing some looks from Cirthus, just kind of holds it back like this and says, "Well, it's if you ever need us again, please don't hesitate. We will be here. Well, we'll be around. I don't know if we'll be here." And you hear some chuckles from the rest of the crew, and they start. It seems they start kind of tying things down for the night as the sun is going down, and they're going to have to stay here for the night. But the five of you are left on the end of this stone jetty, coming out about 100 yards into this bay. Easy enough to walk on back to the beach. Yeah, you have arrived.
As we walk away from them, I'm just going to turn to the group and say, "Do you think they will forget about the sail in the hole in the boat?"
Yeah. I already forgot about it.
I mean, yeah, or the hole that the harpoon thing left.
No, I fixed that one.
That's right. Okay. What would y'all like to do? I mean, it's the sun is going down. It's early evening, and like I said, there's a few huts on shore, but there's not a lot around here.
I think we should go investigate the huts and try to find a warm place to sleep.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I think checking out the huts would be a good idea just to see like what's up with these huts. But as far as a warm place to sleep, we've got a Leoman's tiny hut we can throw out there, and that stays dry and comfortable.
I just forgot about it.
Yeah.
It happens.
So
All
that
right.
could be.
Usually get in trouble when I do that.
But yeah, so are these huts empty or abandoned or?
I mean, walking up, like I said, you can see you can see wood smoke coming out of both of them, out of like kind of small holes at the top of the hut. So and there were some dwarves on the jetty that are now kind of just standing around talking to each other, warming their hands over a small fire there on the jetty with you. They seem to be mostly ignoring you, just every once in a while looking over.
I'll go over and talk to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ask them if who those huts belong to, or are those homes, or what's the deal with them huts?
Is there any ale in those huts?
All right. Walking up to there's three dwarves standing there. The first one that seems to acknowledge you as you walk up says, "All right then. Ale? I'm afraid we don't have any ale, but We live in those huts. There's a few others of us around, but like he gestures over to the other two dwarves that are with him. Are you all here for Vasselheim then?
Yes.
All right. I mean, we could put you up for the night in one of the huts. It's going to be cramped with all of us in there, but I don't suggest setting out at night. It can be, the woods around here can be fairly dangerous, and you have at least a good long day's walk before you get to Vasselheim.
We brought our own hut.
Oh, all right.
But thank you for the offer.
It's not a problem. And they kind of nod their head at you and go back to talking with the other dwarves.
Oh yeah, I guess we do need to ask. Can you point me in the direction of the road to Vasselheim?
Oh, right. And he gestures off towards the tree line, and following his point, you can see it looks like several large logs have been lashed together in kind of an arch or gateway, roughly, but very well done. Probably about 20 feet tall, about 20 feet across, and between them runs off into the trees a trail. Not quite a road. It looks like it might have never had any wheels on it, actually. But if maybe 5 feet wide, well packed, and it seems like even with all the snow around, cleared of snow. And he says, "It's going to be that way. There's no other roads here. You walk on that until you get there, and you'll know when you get there."
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay. Do you all want to bed down for the night then?
Yeah, I say we go. We pick out a nice little spot, and I will cast Leomund's tiny hut.
All right. Cool. I mean, it's easy enough. 10 minutes. You have the familiar sight of the hut. The dome kind of shows up, and as you all go into it, you find that, I'm assuming, because you can control the weather in it, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you walk in, it's a nice like 78 degrees in there, nice and warm. And yeah, the little bit of, you found a fairly clear spot, but there's snow everywhere here. So the little bit of ice and snow that had been in the sandy kind of gravel that you set it up on immediately starts to melt, and it gets a little bit humid in there.
See, Peel is in heaven.
So you knew there was a reason you were with these people.
It's all coming up, Millhouse.
All right. Does anybody want to keep an eye out, or are we just sleeping the night away?
I can stand a shift if we want to.
I'll just do my normal thing.
Yeah, I'd say I look expectantly at Surthus and kind of just wait for him to meld into stone or do whatever it is he does at night.
Yeah.
I do normal thing too.
So there's no stone here to meld into, but Zippil, you watch because you've never seen this before. But as the rest of everybody kind of lays down, and one by one they all fall off to sleep after their own nightly rituals, whatever they do. Out of curiosity, you stay up for just a little bit and watch, and Serthis just kind of sits there and stares around. At first, he releases the owl he always has with him, which starts up and out, and then you can see every once in a while flying kind of a perimeter. And he just seems to sit there, and whether he's meditating or what, you don't know, but he does not go to sleep. Yes.
What is this? CPL will try to just be as far away from him as he can until he can figure out how he feels about this.
Okay. All right. After a nice night's long rest, which you've had several of since your battle, by the way, so those of you who took damage you are healed up by now. As morning comes, the sun rising in the east off the coast over the ocean, it comes fairly early. There's nothing to block it there. And before too long, your dome, after the 8 hours, dissolves, and you find yourselves suddenly much colder again. As cold as it was during the day when you got here, at night it gets well below freezing. And you can see, like, as the dome kind of dissipates, it almost looks as if there's a dome left, even though you know the dome dissipated. And as one of you starts to move, this frost that had grown over the dome suddenly breaks and kind of settles down onto all of you. Just these flakes of thin ice.
ZPL is possibly as miserable as he's ever been.
There you go. All right. With that, though, you don't see any of the dwarves you had seen the night before. It seems they're not getting up this early. But you have the day ahead of you. You know basically where you need to go. I'm assuming you want to get on the road to Vasselheim.
Yes.
Yeah.
What? All right. What's our marching order?
First.
Crom first.
Roland will bring up the rear.
Rolling in the rear. Where does everybody else want to be?
I'll be in the middle.
Okay.
I'll fall in right behind Crom.
Okay. And then Sirthis in the backish middle. Okay. That'll work. Okay. Crom, for the day, could you roll a, well, actually, you're following a road, but you are keeping a lookout. Roll a perception check.
Okay. Um, 18.
18. Okay. As you start out in the early morning after eating a little bit of some rations or bread, what have you, jerky, whatever you have with you. You get going on the road. At first, it's fairly cold, but this is the kind of thing you're used to. You grew up in a place like this, higher up in the mountains, of course, but still fairly cold, a little windy, snow, the whole 9 yards. The rest of everybody seems to be a little sluggish getting going until you've been walking for maybe about 30 minutes or so, at which point just the activity is and the kind of long oversized coats that you all found managed to get their core temperatures up a little bit. You don't see a whole lot out here. It's winter. A lot of things are hibernating. You see the occasional eagle or hawk crossing over back and forth, hunting. You at one point noticed some tracks. It looks like it was probably deer, several of them that crossed over the road out of the snow and back into the snow on the other side. But not a whole lot until about midday, when you notice some figures on the road up ahead of you. It looks like two. Between the different groups and species and races that you've seen, they're about average size, somewhere between 5 and 6 feet tall. And as you get up close to them, you see two people in these long, heavy, dark brown robes, with coats over the outside too, kind of trudging, looking like they're fairly cold, but with these determined looks on their faces. They both look like they're elves. And as you come up on them, they kind of finally hear you and look back.
You said they're stationary in front of us?
Oh no, they're walking. They're just going quite a bit slower than all of you are. And they look very, very cold.
Or walking past.
I think we're coming up behind them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you're coming up and you're going to pass them if you continue your pace.
I'll tell them hello in Elvish.
All right. They return the greeting, but no more. They don't seem especially, friendly past just pleasantries.
I'll ask them where they're going.
One of them kind of just gives a single laugh, and the other says, "We're going to Vasselheim. This is the only way to get there, and that is the only city on this road." Kind of gives you some attitude.
Okay. Before I lose my temper, I'll just shut up.
Okay. And as you kind of shut up, and he gives you a look, he adjusts the shoulders of his coat around him, gripping it harder. Just looking at them, you can tell that wherever they're from, it's much warmer, and they are not used to this. Would anybody else like to talk to the elves, or are we continuing on?
Yeah, I guess, as they continue walking and we're walking too, just to break up the awkward silence as we're all just kind of walking, I'm going to ask them, so what brings you to Vasselheim?
We're on a pilgrimage. I assume that you were as well. Isn't that why people come to Vasselheim?
Yep.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
that's a good point.
All right. We're going personally, we're going to meet the Trust of Winter and confer with the Nameless Maidens.
What's that?
What are the Nameless Maidens?
Yeah, I think Roland seems really interested in these Nameless Maidens.
Give me a second. He kind of gives you a look and just kind of shrugs at you and says, the leaders of our order.
What order are you with?
Well, that I'm not going to share with you. We serve the Raven Queen. That's all you need to know.
Spit
Do you know a cleric named Quintus?
No, I don't believe I do.
Oh, well, he served the Raven Queen too and was with us for a while.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that special? Mm-hmm.
We thought so.
Would you like some scrolls about the sun? I worship the sun.
So having not quite noticed you as you're bundled up even more than they are, with your hood up and everything, he kind of jolts, looking over at you, and says, "No, but I can imagine why. You must be colder than we are."
It is very cold.
Yes, well, it would be.
That is why I think we should all worship the sun for the warmth.
I mean, one cannot fault your logic, I suppose.
So, would you then take a pamphlet?
Sure. Yeah. And he looks over at his companion, who just rolls his eyes and continues walking.
Here is 2, one for your rude friend.
And thank you. That's nice. We don't get much of this in Karnath. All right. And as you continue on, you find your pace once again was faster than theirs, and they start to fall back a little bit, unless you want to keep with them.
No, I'd say,
Bye.
yeah, I guess we'll see you there.
I vote we keep going without him.
Yeah.
All right.
I have eaten elf once in the swamp, and it was about as pleasant as that experience.
Dead stop.
Did you say that?
Oh, what?
us?
Yeah, I think you said that out
Yeah.
loud.
Okay.
He was already dead. I did not kill him.
Okay. That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
No waste, man.
Yeah, he was. Just,
Too much information.
Yeah, it's just, I can't, not gonna judge.
I'm gonna
but-
ask him if he's ever ate a Goliath.
no. Are you delicious?
I don't know. I've never eaten Goliath either.
May I? No.
No.
Maybe some other time.
If I die, you have permission.
That's very kind. You too.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's consent.
All right. So
Chomp, if she dies. I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Chomp, if she dies, wouldn't you just resurrect her?
I mean, I guess that's not really something that we've discussed for, your wishes of, do you have a
Last
do not
living-
resurrect clause or like a DNR?
Oh. I'm gonna have to smoke on that. I'll get back to you.
And do not resurrect.
Yeah.
Nice. Of course, what you do isn't really resurrecting.
Yeah. I'd say,
Reanimating?
yeah.
Do not reanimate.
And really, I don't think I would take your opinion on that, because at that point,
I
I
would.
would not view you as you anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I would reanimate you in the situation. If we needed a reanimated Goliath in the moment, then that's what would happen.
I mean, it's kind of like the Good Samaritan laws, right? If the person is unconscious, consent is implied.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were dead, but
Yeah.
It's just a very extreme
Dead.
unconscious.
extremely unconscious.
I'm extremely unconscious.
Yeah, so I pay attention to how he reacts to me talking about reanimating corpses, knowing other clerics who were very opposed to it. And I guess he does not seem to be phased by it.
I
I
don't know.
think-
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask him, he would probably just say that he hadn't thought about it much. You know, food, bodies are they're not moving around. They're just essentially food or nutrients for somebody. So if they're moving, that's a whole different story. He's not too sure on it, actually, himself.
Mm-hmm.
We'll cross that bridge. We'll cross that corpse when we come to it.
Yep.
Yeah, we will. In any case,
It's the opposite.
moving on. After another hour or so, you leave behind the two elves, still kind of slowly trudging their way, until kind of going over several small hills and around a couple winding turns. You can't even see them anymore. Eventually, getting on to, the sun is about to go down behind the large mountain that you've slowly been getting closer and closer to. Now with a little bit of context, you can see that it is a pretty good size, just single mountain. There's other mountains slightly further in to this continent, it seems like, from what you can see. This just maybe is the first large one in a range. And right about the time where the sun would be going down, just to the left of this mountain, as it is, you are fairly into the northern hemisphere and it is winter. You come up over a small rise and see a valley right in front of this mountain kind of spread out before you. In the valley, if I can find it, you see a city of concentric circles that are built out from the mountain not being in the center of them, rather in the very westernmost part of these circles, the mountain kind of juts out of the city. And so in the very westernmost part, all the concentric circles start and end on the sides of the mountain. Within different parts of the city, you can see slightly different colors and architecture used. One part of the city seems to have many more trees than other parts of the city. Another part seems to be mainly, I can't get this thing to load. Okay. Another part seems to be mainly, there it goes. Dedicated to maybe commerce or something like that. Another part seems to have several large, looks like almost coliseums. Many of the buildings in all of these parts are built in levels, almost like a ziggurat. Some smaller, some huge. And at the very middle of the city, part of the way up the mountain, above everything, you see a temple larger than any other building in the city that seems to almost shine a little bit with this slightly off silver color. It seems you have managed to find your way to Vasselheim.
Yay.
Wow.
Yay.
Does this look like these are these ruins, or this looks like a
City proper.
yeah
Or city.
maintained city?
It's definitely a maintained city. There's smoke rising from parts. You can hear loud, just bustle and things even from this distance on a hill above the city. There's people coming in and out. It's a pretty good sized city. Not nearly as big as, say, Amman, which was hundreds of thousands of people, but there's probably 20, 30,000 people in this city. Parts of it look like they're very, very old. Other parts look like they're fairly new, probably. It just depends on what part of the city you're in.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what I was expecting, but I'm impressed. This place sounds cool.
All right. So as you kind of take a moment looking at the city and then walking down the hill towards what looks like the front gate of this place, as you get closer, you see that every so often on the outskirts of the outside wall, and you can see from outside on the hill that the concentric circles of this city are made by fortified walls, one inside the other, each with gates going through them between the different parts of the circles. The different districts of the city, though, don't correspond to these walls. The one district that looks like it was much greener and had more trees and even it looked like a small lake and things like that, takes up a good amount of the right side, the northern side of the city. While the very center of the city, the middle part that you're heading towards, seems to be taken up with maybe businesses, things like that. And over to the left, the southern part of the city, is where you saw several of the coliseums and large kind of sporting grounds, almost, it looked like. But on the outer walls and on the inner, as you get closer, you can see there's these towers that rise regularly on the walls, just a little bit, like a couple stories taller than the walls themselves, which are a good 30, 40 feet tall and thick, made of stone. On top of each tower, what looks like a large, what can only be described as a large stylized dragon's head, seems to be set facing in different directions. And as you come right up to the walls, right before what's on top of the towers kind of falls out of view, as your angle gets a little too steep, you see that these are some type of large ballista that are stylized to look like dragons. One large one on each tower, and there must be at least 100 towers throughout the city between all the walls. But as you come up to the gates, what's that?
No, go on.
As you come up to the gates, you see, I gotta find this. Oh, notes. I know it's in here somewhere. All right. Apparently I didn't write this down. Huh. I really should have. Okay, well. Okay, so walking up to the outskirts of the city, the very front gate of the city, you find a huge double door gate all the way open, both doors open outward, with maybe about 5 platinum-clad guards in plate armor on either side. And as you come up to the gates, one of them steps forward and says, "Yes, which bastion are you looking for?"
You're in the front. Crom just fell off a
Crom
cliff.
says,
We are here
Which-
to learn about the
Yes.
worship of the sun.
But the worship of the sun. I'm not even sure what that would be in. But please
This
go on.
is the city of dawn, is it not?
It is.
Well, then
I
where is
am-
the worship of the sun?
I'm sure there are people. There is at least one temple to Pelor here.
Well,
I'm
then
sure
that
we
is
can
where we
find
want
that
to
for you.
go. So please let us by.
Okay. He looks back at the guards, the other guards, and then looks back to you. His left hand on his sword at his side, and says, "In any case, I am Scale Bearer Nurmanin. But to allow you into the city, I need to know where each of you is going. You are all going to the Temple of Pelor?
We are all going to the city to worship the sun, so please let us into the city. You are very bad at your job.
"Oh no!"
Whoa, wait, no,
Wait.
excuse our enthusiastic friend. We've been on a long journey, and he's very anxious to get to.
No, he tells us there's a temple to the sun, and then I said that's where we want to go, and then he says, well, where are we going? It doesn't make sense.
I need to know. I'm sorry.
Yes, simple. Yes, that's
The middle one. The middle.
Oh, all right. Please go ahead. It's looking over at you, Zippo. He seems to be being very apologetic, and doesn't seem necessarily surprised by your appearance. But it's how we do things here. I apologize, really.
Here's a pamphlet on the sun.
Thank you. All right. Bahamut guide you, and he gestures for you to walk in.
okay. Also, I had a question about what it looked like as we were entering. So you said that there were apparent districts. So the districts, the districts seem to span across these concentric walls?
They do.
Okay.
Some parts of districts are on different sides of walls, and it's just the districts are set up like they would be in a city without walls, but there's walls running through the midst of everything.
Interesting.
It looks like just
Insight or
well, actually, yeah. Make a history check. Somebody make a history check.
I'm pretty good with history, I
Pretty
think.
good at histories.
Yeah.
I have only rolled a 12.
23.
That is much better.
23. All right. Zippo, you've heard a little bit about this place, but Chomp, you've read enough, and just looking at the way it's constructed, you can see this place is it's known as the center of faith in Exandria. This where all the divine power comes from is kind of centered here. But looking at the way this city is constructed, which you had never realized before, this place looks like it was meant to withstand any siege from any army ever. The walls, as you walk through, going through the gate, are 15 feet thick and 40 high. Made out of what it looks like some type of black stone. In a lot of places, it looks like it's been magically fused to each other. not just with mortar, but with actual like magic, like is material become connected to each stone to each other. You also know that there have been many sieges of this city. Most recently, only 20 years ago, when an ascendant evil wannabe god attempted to destroy the city. Parts of which you can see the destruction still in especially over to your left into the district that had the sporting arenas and things like that. You can see part of what looks like a huge shoulder and arm of something over there, possibly made of stone or maybe metal. You know that wannabe ascendant god was defeated, and the city still exists. Before that, during the calamity, with the war with the between the betrayer gods and most of humanity, this was the last stand, basically, where the pantheon of well-meaning gods, anyway, managed to lock the betrayer gods and themselves beyond the confines of the material realm, never to be able to come back, theoretically. But this was the last place where humanity, as well as the elves and dwarves, made their last stand at that point. Time and time again throughout history, this was the place where intelligent life on Exandria, as you know it anyway, kind of saw a rebirth. And it's an interesting looking place. Walking into what you hear described around you as the Quadroads district, which is the kind of central district that starts from towards the middle of the city and the huge mountain above you. You see that this is very much kind of a merchant district, as well as being a place where a lot of people in general live. Almost directly ahead of you as you first come into the city, just before you get to the second wall of the city, there's a large, it looks like it could be a guild hall, with many other smaller buildings around. And it's an impressive sight for sure. Not the biggest place you've ever seen, but definitely one of the most purposely laid out cities you've ever seen. What do you all want to do?
I definitely want to go find this temple to the sun. That's very relevant to my interests.
All right. What about everybody else?
I guess this guild hall, is there any sort of signage out front with like
Maps.
or just
Souvenirs? Any souvenirs or maps?
indicating what type of guild it is?
Okay. To this kind of large hall, which it is a good 3 stories tall. It looks like almost a country manor that's just been blown up into very large size here in the middle of the city. You see a sign on the outside that announces it as the Slayer's Take.
Is the what?
That means you're the Slayer's Take. I think.
Wait, the Slayer's Tank?
Margaret. The Slayer's Take.
Take.
I will take. Take. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Take.
Yeah.
Not think.
I know it's no.
Tank.
Anyway. Okay. So you're not sure exactly what that means, but you see on the sign above it a spear and an arrow crossed over each other. Walking up, you see a couple people kind of out on it's kind of a porch kind of area up along this front. Oh, hey, Margaret.
Hey, I don't know what happened.
All right. It happens. There it is. Okay, so walking up to the Slayer's Take, you see a couple of different people. Kind of gathered around in front. One of whom, let me see. You see a tiefling with this dark black hair brought back into a single ponytail behind. Her purple skin, mostly not showing, just on her hands and face, and a little bit of her neck can you see. She has leather armor on over everything else. And seems to be talking to a couple other individuals that are there on the porch.
Yeah, can I talk to the tiefling? And I want to ask, where's the best place to get some weapons?
All right. Walking up to the tiefling, she kind of looks over at you as you ask her. Kind of gives you a little bit of a double take. Well, now, you would be useful.
Ooh.
Weapons, you say?
I say that to her all the time.
I mean, depending on what you are willing to do, we might be able to help you here, actually.
Okay. Crom is pretty sex positive, so I'm cool with it. Wait, what are we talking about?
And she kind of winks at you and says, well, just if you were willing to work for us for a little bit, I'm just saying we could see our way to at least lending you some weapons, possibly.
Okay.
And who might you be?
Crom Ass Smasher.
What?
I forgot my last name.
I don't know that you ever had
that hasn't come up in a while.
That was unexpected.
It's been a minute.
Nice to meet you, Ms.
You ever heard of
And your friends here. Who are all of you? And what brings you to the Slayer's Take?
We just got into town and we were looking for
stuff.
Yeah, like some directions.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're not even you don't know what we are here then. Okay.
No.
All right. This is the Slayer's Take. She gestures over her shoulder to the sign above the door. We are a guild that hunts rare and troublesome animals. I should warn you that we, being the guild here in Vasselheim that does this, we would rather, if you were going to do anything like that, you go through us. But we're always looking for contractors, things like that. We do pay well, and you definitely look like you can handle yourself.
Yes, I am interested, very, very interested.
All right. What if you weren't here for us, though? What brings you to Vasselheim? Just out of curiosity.
Glory and ass smashing. That's my reason. I don't know why the rest of these guys are here.
This one does not care for the ass smashing. This one wants the sun. You told
Well,
me
you're
there
in
was the sun in the town, and now we cannot go. I just want
Well,
to go to the sun.
I'm sorry. She gestures up to the sun, which is kind of low in the southern sky, and it is actually started to set now behind the mountain. Even though it's not too late yet, this is not quite the place for it. But I'm sure you can find somewhere to be warm in town.
Not the actual sun. There's a temple.
Oh, you are a worshiper of Pelor. I see. Well, yes, there is a temple. I'm assuming you're looking for it then.
I thought I made that very clear.
Oh, all right. Well,
Is the sun out right now?
it's going down. It's just gone down behind the mountain, so it's still light out, but the sun isn't visible at the moment. The large mountain to the west really blocks a lot of sun because it's directly it's partially inside the city. So especially in the winter, the sun goes down early here. You're fairly far north at this point. In any case, she says, I believe somewhere over in the Abundant Terrace, there is a temple to Pelor. She gestures back towards the north, where you saw coming into town that the more greener and abundant part of town was. It looks like many growing things were there.
That's where we need to go. Not here for the ass smashing. Not here for the chasing of beasts.
All right then. Well, you mean it's not for everyone, I have to say. Just keep us in mind. If you would like, we can always, help with something or give you work if you need.
I would like to accept
Yeah,
this.
we definitely. I think the rest of us or other members of our party are interested in maybe not necessarily hunting rare creatures, but we are generally interested in rare items and certain items of interest. Side missions from the guild are probably welcome, and
Side quest.
yeah.
Yep. Down to
Yes. We would. That sounds like a great idea. It's been a while since we took on contractors, and usually we deal with guild members, but we're open to, unless you'd like to become part of the guild.
Yes.
Well,
We do?
Crom do.
Crom, that's
Crom do.
Well, we're today we're not having any intake, but come back and see me later this week.
Okay,
Well,
wink.
And
well.
then
Thank
she
you. I don't know.
she definitely winks back at you, and does the eyebrow thing.
Wait, did we get her name?
Yes. What's
You did
their
not.
name? Oh,
Oh.
please, what's her name?
Oh yeah. So yeah, we should ask that.
Oh yeah, Vanessa.
Oh,
Pleased to meet you, and yours. Well, I've met Crom, Ms. Ass Smasher here. And you, little fellow, what's your name?
I'm fully grown.
No, I wasn't. Never mind. The gnome. What's your name?
Chomsky.
All right.
You can call me Chomp.
And brother, what about yours?
This one is Zipiel. This one is born of the noble fire. This one is very confused.
I can tell.
It has been a long day.
She goes through just introducing or asking each of your names, getting them, and says, "Well, I hope to see all of you here later this week, maybe." And she looks at you, Crom, and says, "Especially you." She's totally flirting with you. But yes, she does give you directions, fairly loose directions, but directions nonetheless of how to get to the Temple of Pelor. All right, so what do we all want to do right now?
So this appears to be sort of like residential places.
Yeah, there's residential stuff, fairly high density residential, like a lot of, it looks like apartments and things like that, with a lot of shops on first levels, either shops or there's a few other small guild halls in this part of town. This just looks like it's the largest one. It's kind of a sub-district, it seems like, where the guilds all have their headquarters. But yeah, there's different markets. It looks like some of them are more oriented towards food, some more towards crafts, some towards metal work. All organized, laid out in kind of a grid in this part of the city. Of course, in places being bisected by the walls that come through. And it seems like it's called the Quad Roads because this part of the city, there are 4 roads that go in between the walls within the city, and this district is the only one that has all 4 in it. So it's kind of the crossroads district of the entire city, no matter what part of the city you're in. All right. Sorry, what's that?
No, I was just going to ask the party what they wanted to do.
If the wizards need to read things, whatever. The wizard needs to read.
I mean, I do read lots of books. I guess it's still the weather is not any different here. It's still like cold and stuff?
It's still fairly cold here within the city because there's quite a bit of stone and it's more kind of closed in. It's still cold, but it's easy enough to find warmth, and it just feels a little warmer just from being in the city. Whether that's actual or not, you can't tell. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess we need to establish a home of operations, a base of operations, an inn, or a nice comfy place we can meet up.
This one can get us a place to stay at the temple.
Oh yeah, hey, that's.
Are there women at the temple?
This one
And
has
drink?
never been to the temple, but they worship the same God, so they will let me in.
Well, yeah, an actually useful reason to go to the temple. That sounds great.
Cool. Let's go.
There you
This
go.
one is sorry for the guild. This one was confused what we wanted to do.
Which one?
This one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
If this one would like to go back
This
and
one,
get
not
their
that
brews,
one.
this is fine.
Yeah, I mean So is there an area that looks like an inn or an Airbnb or what? Oh yeah, wait, that's right, the temple. So I guess we head that way.
That way.
Yeah. And that way, being north, you make your way through the city here in the first level. As you exit, it doesn't take too long before you've exited this part of the city, the Quad Roads district, and coming through a lower kind of intermediary wall that runs at a 90-degree angle to the ring walls. Passing through a small gate in this wall, you come through and immediately feel about 40 degrees warmer. Like your skin suddenly tingles, like just with your pores opening up with the feeling of warmth and humidity suddenly. Before you see between these two walls, the outer wall and the second wall, There's looks like irrigated canals and fields of food, like corn and wheat and things, stretching out before you as this part of the district kind of curves off out of sight. You're not sure exactly what's going on here, but it seems like you just stepped into like late spring somewhere.
I'm like not to the point of freaking out, but I'm like, what in the nine hells is going on here? I have to know what this is. Some
It is the light of the sun.
Walking through,
Glorious.
yes. Walking through, like you don't feel the sun on you right now, and actually like it's kind of dusk at this point. Like the sun is slowly fading out of the sky. The very eastern part of the sky is starting to turn that kind of darker blue, and starting to turn to night as it goes into evening. You walking through here, you see people in kind of light green robes, sometimes with like with pants and a shirt in the same color, tending to the fields a little bit. Some of them packing up tools, it seems like, to go home for the day, and a lot of them kind of wave to you with an odd look on their face, but continue doing what they're doing. They all look fairly happy here as you go through. It's a while before you actually get to a building. Several large, wide and deep, but low, it looks like bunkhouses, where there's many of these people from the fields are coming in and starting, it looks like maybe to cook dinner. Some of them are talking. You hear somebody start to play what might be a fiddle of some type or something like that at one point. Looks like a nice place to hang out. And on ahead of you, passing another major road that comes at across your road, you see two large, long lakes, one on either side of the road, kind of following the curve of the walls. Would you like to keep going? Yes? No? I mean, because you're looking for the temple, right?
Temple.
Yeah. So none of these look like a temple.
No, I mean, it looks like a nice like commune, basically.
Hippies.
Hippies. So walking on between these two small, long lakes, where you see there's places that have been kind of separated in the lakes with different nets and things, and you can see that people probably are raising different kinds of fish in these little lakes, as well as several different types of. It looks like as you go through one part, there's probably rice, like in a much more shallow part of the lake. Eventually, you pass them, and just a little bit further up, you come upon what looks like a good-sized temple. Not the biggest temple that you've ever seen, but a fairly nice size, round in kind of its footprint. Above the door, you see this stylized sunburst of a pattern. Not unlike the holy symbol that your lizard friend carries. Not exactly the same, but still fairly similar. It seems that you found the Temple of Pelor.
I'm gonna turn to them and say, I have never heard of this sun as Pelor, but we will just go with it.
You seem so confident about this whole sun biz.
No, it's just maybe a different name, a subsect, maybe.
Oh, that makes sense. You know, different names, same gods. That's a thing.
Yes.
Well, after you,
Yet I will stride confidently into whatever I think looks most like the temple.
Okay.
Okay.
Coming into the temple, you see a bright room. Looking up into the ceiling, the domed ceiling of this temple, you see what looks like a miniature sun floating there, shining down on everything, warming everything a couple degrees, even warmer than the outside. And you feel suddenly at peace, Zippo. The rest of you as well, though. Like this room, like while it's very bright, and one might think it would have been harshly so, it doesn't come across as overly bright. It's a very pleasant light in this room, which is fairly large, about 50 feet deep, 50 feet across, with columns kind of ringing the outside, and it's through the back of the column, so you can see that there's more of the temple that continues from there, this just being kind of the main room of the temple. There are several individuals in these kind of very light gold robes, with a little bit of kind of shimmering effect in the thread. And one of them walks up to you, a young half-elf, and they say, Dawnfather's blessing be upon you. How may we be of assistance?
We traveled from very far away to come here and to learn the ways of Pelor. And I'm going to pull out my holy symbol. I also am of the faith, but we need a place to stay the night, maybe several nights.
I think we could do that for you. It is always good to see one of the faith from so far away. And while it seems, looking at your symbol, she kind of looks at it like from a couple different angles and says, it seems that you may be from a different, how do you say, sect? All who worship Pelor are welcome here, as well as any who don't. Gesturing to the rest of you, she kind of remembers you're there suddenly. But please, come in. We were about to have a meal. You can at least sit down with us.
Thank you.
And that's where I'm going to end today, because that's about the most I have.
Oh, good. I have.
But thanks, guys.
Yeah, cool.
This was
What's
the good
up?
game.
Well, thanks for
Good.
coming, y'all.
Good. It was good.
I think at some point, like we're not going to start back in person anytime soon, but I know we haven't talked about like what the plan is eventually for going back to in person. My thought was, when there's a vaccine and like people, we can go back to in person games again. Does that sound okay to everybody?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure, because I know we hadn't talked about it and I hadn't said anything about it. And like, I miss playing in person, but also I don't want to get anybody sick. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so that's fair. But otherwise, can everybody meet again in 2 weeks? The usual.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
When is that? The 30th. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks. That
You're
was fun. I've never done naval combat before.
That's
It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Okay. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, y'all.
Take it easy.
I will see you next time.
Have a good time.
Oh,
Bye.
what's up?